In today's video, we're going to take a look at the story of Richie George, a World Championship semi-finalist in 2013 who disappeared from the circuit just 2 years later and then made headlines for all the wrong reasons in 2016. Richie is the son of Bobby George, who despite never becoming a world champion, is one of the sport's most legendary figures. Bobby won the prestigious News of the World Championship in both 1979 and 1986 and reached the BDO World Final in 1980 and 14 years later in 1994. He was a key character in the growth of the game, known for his flamboyant style, which saw him wear lots of jewellery and go by the nickname the King of Bling. So, Richie, who was born in 1989, had some big shoes to fill. Bobby was dart's first full-time exhibition player and the sport's first millionaire, allowing him to build a 17-bed mansion in Essex known as George Hall, which had a stained glass dartboard above the front door. Richie was raised in the house and began to play darts at the age of just 2, and by the time he was 3, he would play against his dad, throwing 4 darts to Bobby's 3 to make it fairer. He calls his dad his inspiration and managed to hit his first 180 when he was around 6 or 7. By the time he was 14, he was practicing 2 hours a day and he managed to beat his dad a few times. At that age, he played his first competitive tournament, a youth event in Great Yarmouth, which he managed to win to qualify for the World Youth Masters. 2 years later, he was a member of the England youth team that reached the final of the WF Europe Youth Cup alongside future PDC pros David Pallett, Ricky Evans and Ross Smith. In 2007, he managed to reach the final of the Youth International Darts League, where he lost 6-5 after being 4-1 up against Pascal Van Morik. Despite this relative success in his teens, Richie then took a break from the game to focus on work. He eventually began to run his own company, advising businesses on how to deal with aggressive and violent behaviour, particularly in the mental health field. By running his own business, it meant that he could take time off whenever he wanted, allowing him to return to darts and play in the BDO tournaments around Europe, where he first made a return to form closer to home by winning the Colchester Open in the summer of 2011 and then the Southend Open in December. In 2012, he played in lots of BDO and WDF events and managed to reach the semi-final at the Welsh Masters and Swiss Open. Those good results helped him to qualify for the World Masters as the 15th seed. In the event, he faced Thomas Younghans on the televised stage and was beaten 3-1 in the last 32. By that point, he'd also secured qualification for the Lakeside World Championship and he was invited to play in the Zuidendam Masters as a wildcard. In the Netherlands, he lost 5-1 to Jeffrey de Graaf before beating Jan Dekker in a deciding leg. Those results saw him finish behind de Graaf in the group, meaning that he was eliminated. It was then time for his World Championship debut, and he said that it was an honour to go to Lakeside as a player, as he had grown up there and was following in his dad's footsteps. He said that he had his dad's personality, but that he didn't like the bling. Ahead of Richie's debut, Bobby said that he hoped Richie could win some money to pay back all the pocket money he gave him. That's the reason Richie was nicknamed Richie Rich, because he was known for spending lots of Bobby's money. He faced Dave Prince in round 1, and after surviving 7 match darts, Richie managed to force a deciding set. He won that final set 4-2 in a tiebreak, taking the win on debut, much to the delight of Bobby, who was watching on. He then faced Jimi Hendrix, and after Jimmy missed darts to force the deciding set, Richie took out 56 to win 4-2, delighting Bobby again and seeing him move through to the quarter-final. He then recovered from 3-1 down to beat Jan Dekker and move through to the World Championship semi-final and debut. In that semi-final, he was beaten 6-1 by Scott Waits. That brought an end to his run, during which he didn't manage to average over 84 in any of his 4 games. In 2013, he had some more good runs in BDO and WDF events, helping him to qualify for the World Masters again, where he was beaten 3-1 by Ryan Sell after the missed double 10 incident, which Ryan failed to point out due to his poor eyesight. In that year, he also qualified for the PDC Grand Slam due to his World Championship run. In the Grand Slam, he lost 5-2 to Adrian Lewis, 5-2 to Christian Kist, and 5-3 to Ronnie Hybrechts, meaning that he was eliminated after failing to average above 87 in any of his 3 group games. He then also lost both of his group games at the Zuidendam Masters, meaning he went out at that stage again. It was then time for his return to Lakeside, where, despite averaging more than he did in any of his games of the previous year, he lost 3-0 in round 1 to Robbie Green. Richie then had a poorer year on tour in 2014, but qualified for the Grand Slam again due to his 2013 semi-final run. This time round, he lost 5-0 to Phil Taylor, 5-2 to Andy Hamilton, and 5-1 to Christine Kist, with no averages above 84. So, what happened next? Well, he hasn't appeared in any notable darts event since then, which has now almost been a decade, but, as I said, he did make headlines for all the wrong reasons in 2016. In September of that year, it was reported that Richie had assaulted a nurse and a paramedic who were trying to help him at A&E in Colchester General Hospital when he was also heard making racial slurs to medics by staff. During the visit, he hit a nurse in the face after she stepped in to calm him down. Following the incident, Richie admitted 2 counts of assault and 1 of racially aggravated harassment at Colchester Magistrates Court. The prosecution said that Richie had been taken to hospital after a possible overdose and had suffered cuts to his arms, and that he was in a cubicle for treatment when he was heard by members of staff making racist comments. It was reported that George went nose to nose with the victim, slapped him on the arm, grasped a blood pack and threw it at him, causing it to... It was reported that George went nose to nose with the victim, slapped him on the arm, grasped a blood pack and threw it at him, causing it to hit him in the torso. He then started flailing his arms about and hit a nurse on the side of her face after she'd gone to assist her colleague. The medic suffered no injuries but was shocked. The court heard that Richie had been prescribed sleeping tablets the day before and had taken 2. He had also been drinking alcohol. It was felt that the tablets had affected his behaviour and he would not be taking them in the future. Richie couldn't remember the incident and was suffering from lots of stress, partly due to his company losing contracts. Richie was shocked and mortified and wanted to extend a full apology to anyone concerned in the incident, which was quite out of character for him. He was given a 12-month community order and ordered to undertake 100 hours of unpaid work. He was also ordered to pay a total of around £700. Following the incident, Richie was forced to resign from his job as a care home manager. He said that he was on medication at the time of the incident that didn't have the right effect on him. He said that he couldn't defend something he couldn't remember, so he held his hands up to it. Since then, George began to work as a heating engineer and stopped playing on the darts tour. It's probably unlikely that we ever see Richie on a big stage again, but it could happen. Let me know other forgotten players you want to hear about in the comment section down below. Thanks for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like and subscribe. Also, hit the bell icon to turn on notifications so that you get notified whenever I upload a brand new video.